Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another session of Ask Me Anything. Sergeant Ranjan with the Uniform Recruitment Unit, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming Constable Saba Zerdani. He's an officer out of the Toronto HSC detachment. He's one of our newer officers, actually. He's still on probation. I think he's got about just close to about 6 months under his belt. So we're going to find out from Saba, what his experience has been so far in his new role, in this new profession, this new career. So certainly we're going to dive into it. And thank you for everyone joining us on all of our platforms, including Instagram. Certainly we're adding that as part of our chat today. And again, it's a beautiful day, beautiful Wednesday afternoon in the city, and you know what? We're halfway done August, which means summer is coming, winding down to an end, which is not fun for some, but has fun for others who look forward to the fall season. And also, we're getting ready for the next intake, which happens on September 2nd. I think the reporting date is September 2nd. So for all the people that have gotten their calls, certainly congratulations to all of them. Just like how Saba did about 6 to 8 months ago when he was in that position. So we look forward to seeing all the new recruits reporting for duty for training come September 2nd. And for those of you that are still, I think, still getting the calls, I think this week is the last week for job offers for all the ones that are looking to fill the spots for the final spots for our intake. I wish everyone certainly all the best. For everyone that joined us on the all women's fitness session yesterday at Georgian College in Aurelia, thank you for showing up. We had a great time. And certainly for those of you that were able to achieve level 7 and get your fitness certificate, we look forward to seeing your application in our hiring process. And certainly next week, we have our OPP bilingual bound in Ottawa. So for those of you that were selected for that program, we look forward to seeing you there. And certainly, I think you will have an amazing time engaging with all the different units that we have available and set up for you to engage with and truly understand what it's like to work for the OPP in all the different positions that we have. And finally, a last bit that I want to share with you and talk about is well our reach videos. So we were able to revamp our reach information videos on YouTube. So if that is something you're looking for information on what the process is like, we really break down the 6 different videos for you, so you can kind of see what we're looking for in each stage of the hiring process. Okay, so certainly that's a bit of a info for you and a tidbit for you. But before we get started, let's go ahead with introducing Constable Saba here. Let's just have a quick intro in terms of who he is. What kind of prompted him to get into policing and whatnot. So, Saba, maybe a quick
Sure.
background about you, and let's take it from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a little bit of a security background and a little bit of social work background. I always wanted to get into policing, and I thought, I lived in the GTA, so I always thought it'd be with a municipal service. But ultimately, I ended up with the OPP, and it's the best choice I've ever made in my life, to be honest, because I've been working towards it my whole life. I never thought I'd get into in my eyes like such a prestigious police service, and
Yeah,
really took a little bit of um, motivation from some of my friends who were essentially like, why not OPP?
yeah.
So
What did you do prior to getting on with the OPP? Like, what area of specialty were you like in terms of work or anything that you were involved in?
I worked in security for about 6 years, I want to say, just all different sectors. I ended up working over in a healthcare setting, just over at North York General Hospital, actually. So I was there for, I want to say, a year and a half or 2 years as a security supervisor, and just built upon my skill set of conflict management, de-escalating situations, dealing with mental health, seeing Toronto police officers, OPP officers come in for different various types of calls, chatting with them, seeing what the job's like, connecting with them, as
Yeah.
well as just getting a good understanding of what I'm going to be getting myself into.
So obviously you're a new officer now. You got about 6 months on the road.
On the road, yeah. So it was actually around this time last year where I was getting ready to. I had got my job offer and was getting ready to go into training. I didn't know what to expect, but you know what? That was just the next challenge. And the last 6 months, I've been on the road at the Toronto HSD detachment.
Yeah,
Loving it. Been going to so many different calls, not just traffic related, criminal investigations. Just soaking it up.
nice. So obviously you started last September in training, then you graduated in January. You attended the detachment here in Toronto. Where was Toronto in the list of detachments that you picked?
Toronto number one. Number
No,
one. Number
Toronto.
one. Yeah.
Toronto was your number one. Number one.
Toronto number one. I was like, hey, you know what? I wanted to stay within the GTA, and I think that's the misconception when people look at OPP. They're like, I don't want to go around anywhere. I was like, no, you know what? You can pick wherever you want to go. It's your career, it's your life. So
Yeah.
I picked Toronto as my number one, mostly HSD detachments around the GTA, and I got the number one pick.
Perfect. I see the questions coming in, everybody. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just I'll get through each one of them as we go through. And I think there's a couple questions about salary. So obviously, a rookie. I think somebody called you a rookie, so certainly he is a rookie. Uh,
Yeah.
so maybe obviously there's different scales of salary, and I'll address that. Obviously we have a initially when you're going through training, you're paid as a recruit class salary, and then once you graduate training you will go on as the fourth class, which is the probationary salary, and then it takes about 3.5 years till you get to the first class rate. So certainly we have posted all of our salary rates on our OPP website at opp.ca/careers. You can find that out, which is in the range of just over $125,000 a year. So in terms of, I guess, where you are, obviously where you're at the lower band right now, Saba, like how do you supplement what your, I guess, needs are based on your personal needs? You need obviously finances to manage that. How do you
Yep.
manage it as you start right now?
I mean, okay, okay. I'll be completely candid, and this is something that was told to me when I was in college and I was looking to get into policing. Like, it's not about the money. If
Yeah,
it's about the money, unfortunately, it's the wrong job. It's
yeah,
like you're gonna make it work however you want. Yes, the salary is good, even after getting out of training. Yes, the salary is much better than some other paying jobs. You'll make it work. But if
yeah,
it's about the money, it's like that'll wear off eventually. Like you gotta be passionate about this career, right? You gotta be passionate about what you do. Get into work every day and say, not even just put in a good 12 hours and think, okay, I've made this much or I want to do this much overtime, whatever. It's you got to be passionate about the career.
yeah.
So
So one of the questions here from Mavi is asking, how long did it take for you to get the call after submitting your application? I guess he's trying to ask, how long was your process in length from application submission to job offer?
application submission was, I believe, in May or no, April, and then the job offer I got was in June. So
Oh wow,
just over 2 months.
there you go.
Just over 2 months, and I know that's unheard of, but like especially you get told it might take a year, it might take 2 years, depending on what service you apply to.
Hmm.
If you're a good candidate, you're a good fit, and you know what, you're on it. I think again, I was lucky to get about 2 months, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's actually very fast. I think the average time we usually mention when you go through the application process is about 4 months. So that's actually really quick, and that just maybe speaks to the type of the caliber of candidate that you were and the type of experience that you were bringing to the table. But certainly, 4 months is ideal from start to a job offer. But certainly, yours went through very very fast. Um, in terms of diving into as you finished training and you showed up actually, let's go into training. So,
sure.
talk about a bit about when you obviously you got the call. Now you report to academy for your orientation. Then you go on to the Ontario Police College, and then you go on to the post training academy. Maybe talk about what you recall and remember, and share some things that you experienced from there.
Sure. So I don't want to. expose too much. I want everybody to have like their own genuine experience, but essentially you're gonna get that call, you're gonna get that offer where they're giving you, your dream job. You're gonna report to the Provincial Police Academy, which is up in Aurelia, and I think that's one of the good things about OPP is that we house you for about 2 weeks, and then afterwards for about 2.5 months. Whereas some other police services are like, yeah, wherever you live, you're gonna have to drive to our general headquarters every single day throughout your training process. With OPP, we lived right across the street from our training grounds. So again, you have the option to commute from home if you really want to, or you wake up 8 a.m. and then you get your kid ready and everything. You're across the street for 9 a.m. So that's about 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks are just orientation, getting your vest, getting your uniform, getting this big old duty bag with everything. You get back to your little room and you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I finally did it, but you're not there yet. You're not there yet. You then go over to OPC. There's believe it's still a little bit of an online portion that you're doing with OPC. And you get to do that from home if
Yeah.
that hasn't changed. And then you actually go out to Elmer, where you're joined by various different police services, guys from Ottawa Police Service, North Bay, Toronto Police, Peel, Durham, all these different York Region. Can't forget York Region. All these different police services, and now you're networking more, and you're really learning, and you're going and you're learning things about the criminal code, the Highway Traffic Act. You're learning, and they're putting you in scenarios, and they're like, okay, well, what do you do now? There's a mental health call, and you're it. You're responding like you're the officer. So you do that for about 2.5 months, and then with the OPP and other services as well, now you get to come back to home, the home service, and then you do training for, again, depending on what service you are. With OPP, we do another 2.5 months, where or I believe it's 10 weeks, where now we're doing your post training. So you've gotten um, your certificate from OPC, Ontario Police College. You've gotten that, but you haven't been sworn in yet. So you're not there yet. You think you're there, but you're not there yet. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep learning. You got to keep training. And finally, you know what? At the end of that other 2.5 months, so all in all, it's about a five month training process, and it's split up to reflect that. At the end of that, then finally, you know what? If all is good and well, here's your badge. You get to shake the commissioner's hand. Big graduation ceremony, and get ready because you're going to whatever detachment is that you picked.
Nice. I think there's a question from Kevin there was asking about anything, and we talked about it prior to hopping on the call here. What's
Mhm.
been your biggest challenge so far as a new officer? Maybe you can answer that in two parts. Maybe as a new officer in the service, as a reporting and going out there and doing the job, and maybe on the personal side as you transition into this new career, what sort of challenge have you faced on your personal life? Maybe talk about that a little.
So the biggest challenge so far is the information overload. So it's with my hands all the time. But yeah, it's a career where you're always going to be learning. In the first year, you're learning so much. You're learning so much. If you have a background with some sort of law, it definitely helps. But ultimately, you're being thrown into it where you're learning, again, so many different things, so many different acts, how to problem solve, what resources are available to you. And even it doesn't change from what I've heard and what I know to expect. 10 years down the line, you're still going to be learning.
Yeah.
So
What's
that's
one thing that really, sorry to interrupt,
that's
like
fine.
caught you off guard in terms of when it comes to the work aspect? Like, is it the interactions with the public? Is it the paperwork side? Is it just dealing with different personalities within the organization or the platoon that you work in? Like, what stands out to you the most?
Definitely the paperwork. Definitely the paperwork. It's good because it's e-paperwork. It's all electronic, but ultimately there's a back end to everything, right? You can't just be doing all this police work, and it's not just like the
Yeah,
movies. It's not a whole bunch of uh, guys, the cowboys, just going out and do whatever they want. There's
yeah,
so much documentation and court process that goes behind the
yeah,
scenes that you got to take care of
yeah.
ultimately. So.
Good. And from a personal side, what's been a challenge for you from a family
On the
side?
personal side, I'd have to say balancing that work life aspect. I've been very immersed in wanting to get into this career that now that I'm here, I'm still some days finding myself coming into work just to take care of a little bit of work stuff. So,
Right. So
um,
finding that work-life balance has been
yeah, just trying to keep that divide. But
yeah. A question from Caitlin here about us coming to Northeast and Northwest region. Yes, Caitlin, we are actually working on it right now. So we will be traveling Northeast, Northwest area for some engagement pieces that we're working on for the fall. Once we confirm the dates, you're going to see it all over our social media platforms. So hopefully we'll see you there. Okay. A question, Saba, for you. I received, hello, Sergeant Prash. I received my date for my local focus interview last week and have been preparing since. Does Constable Saba have any insight about the best kind of references to include in the reference section? Any
yeah,
thoughts on that?
yeah. So I think your references are going to speak volumes as to what kind of candidate you are, rather than you can, better than you can. I can go into an interview and tell you all about myself, but if I have, again, I think it's about 9 references and it's divided up. If these people can accurately just depict the type of person I am, the kind of candidate I am, you're going to want people who have known you for a majority of your life. For me, I had, you know, my work colleagues who actually put in reference letters, and they were also called and they were able to say, yeah, you know what, this is somebody that we see in any, like, this guy's going to become a police officer, or this girl's going to become a police officer, whether or not it's with your service. So
Mhm.
building those work relationships, those friendships, and continuing them on, and having people that can speak to what kind of person you are, does a lot better than you just sitting in an interview and talking about yourself.
Yeah, good
So
point. One of the other questions here is about vision standards. So if you're concerned that you don't meet the vision standard, especially if you feel like you have a color blindness, what I would suggest is you go on our website under the frequently asked questions, download the parameters that we have for the vision standards, and go see an optometrist and have yourself tested, because that is the only way you know for certain whether you meet the standards for a policing application or not. So if you're concerned that maybe you have color blindness or anything like that, please go download the standards, go see an optometrist and get yourself checked out, because it would be a shame for you to go through the whole process and you make it to the end at the medical stage and you get your vision tested and you find out that you don't meet standard. So instead of putting all this work and effort into the whole process, get yourself tested first, see what options are available, and your optometrist probably would recommend what options would be best for you based on your individual scenario, and then you can take it from there. So that's what I would recommend there. Okay. On the fitness test side, are you required to complete level 7 or start the level 7 and applicant is okay? So I don't understand the question. So maybe what you're trying to ask me is what level you need to achieve. So when you submit your application, the first stage that we're going to ask you for is essentially to show us that you're capable of meeting the fitness standard, which is achieving level 7 on the fitness test. So you have to we send you all the instructions. You can download the audio from our website for free, and essentially you would test yourself on it and showcase to us that you're able to meet level 7. Okay. How much is it? How much is training, Saba? How much did you pay for training?
thanks to Doug Ford. Yeah, no. So it used to be about, what, 15 to 18 grand to go to OPC. Thankfully, the Ontario government, as of the last couple of years, it's free. You, not only is it free, you get paid to go.
Yeah,
So yeah, you,
exactly. So there's no cost to you as an applicant, and then certainly you are paid a salary from the first day of training. So that's always beneficial. So if you have financial obligations, certainly you are paid as an employee, full-time employee. So you're getting paid as you're going through training. And thank you, Mia, for the congratulations and the great work and the kudos. Much appreciated. Um, a question: can I become a cop if I have a misdemeanor drug conviction? As long as you've gotten a pardon for it. So if you have been charged with a criminal offense, as long as you receive a pardon for it, you can apply to be a police officer. And thanks for the question, everyone. I appreciate you sending them in, and we'll try to. Obviously, I'm slowly working through them. I'm not ignoring them. It's just a lot of questions coming in from a lot of our platforms, so I'm slowly making my way through them. Okay. One of the other questions here, reference letters. I think Sava kind of touched on that earlier, so we'll skip that one. How long does it take for you to hear back on the psych testing? It varies because, as you know, there's multiple people going through the hiring process, and they're at multiple stages. So it varies. So I would say just be patient. You will hear back. We won't forget about you. Okay, so just be patient. What if you don't have volunteering experience? Will you not be considered? Saba, do you want to answer that from your perspective?
From my perspective,
Yeah, from even from your application
well,
perspective, because maybe you can
yeah.
touch on your volunteering experience that you had as you went
So
through.
I was volunteering with an organization, and it was a nonprofit organization where ultimately they said, "You're here so much, why not just apply?" So I ended up working part time with them, and that was seemed to still be good enough for the community involvement, right? So if you find something where you're, again, in my experience, I was not paid for quite some time, and then I transitioned into a working role with that organization, but it was still engaging with my own community, right? I think that's the biggest thing that the OPP or any police service is looking for is what do you do to benefit your community, right? So again, as long as you're checking that box, you're able to articulate it. You have a reference from there who says, yeah, you know what, they stay back during their shifts and they don't get paid for it. Or that's kind of what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
That's
Again, and volunteering is just one of 10 different areas of assessment that we assess you on, right? So don't feel just because maybe you don't have volunteering, or you don't feel like you have adequate volunteering experience. Don't let that stop you from applying. I would still say and encourage you to apply, because we assess you in other areas also. Maybe you're not strong in one area, but certainly you might make up for it in another area. So I would still encourage you to apply. Okay. Do you need the OACP? No, the OPP does not require the OACP certificate to apply. I know some municipal services do, but we don't require it. Certainly there's a cost to get the OACP certificate, and our principles in our hiring process has always been to remove as many barriers as possible. So whether it's a financial barrier, whether it's the ability to drive down to do the interviews at a certain location, hence we do all of our interviews virtually, and even all of our testing processes have been switched on to a virtual type of a setting. So we try to remove as many barriers as possible, so many people in all walks of life, no matter where you live or call home, you're able to apply and go through the process with us. Okay. Um, Military. So certainly there are a lot of military members. Even when I got on, there were a lot of military members that were in my class. I'm not Saba. I'm not sure if you recall any.
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, so certainly we do have a lot of military members looking to transition from their service with the military, and then obviously come on to us. And I think I saw a question earlier about tenure with us. So there is no tenure with us where you have to sign on with the OPP for a certain amount of time or anything like that. This is your career. You can stay with us as long as you want, or certainly, you can come work for us. And if you have other avenues or perspectives or other ventures that you want to pursue, you can certainly resign and pursue those venues also. Okay, there's no timeline that you have to work with us. Okay. Just trying to go through here some of the other questions. Thank you everyone for submitting them. Uh, okay, Sava. So maybe you can answer this. What's the benefit that comes with joining the police service with the OPP? So maybe you can talk about that from your perspective so far. Maybe from a professional level and also maybe a personal level. What you've gained from
yeah. So I'll touch on the professional side of it first. With the OPP, you are the investigating officer. You take your investigation as far as you want, as far as you can. You are given a lot of freedom in that sense, whereas some other municipal services, you start the investigation, you hand it off to someone else. With the OPP, you're really learning about the entire process of, okay, I charged this guy, I arrested him, I brought him back, I'm releasing him. This is what this document is. Like you're learning so much with the OPP that I don't think that other services necessarily offer until you start getting into different units.
Yeah.
So you're learning a lot in that sense. With the personal side of it, it's that if I decide 5 years from now I want to go and move, everybody says Musini, everybody says somewhere, or Pickle Lake or wherever, right? You want to go and move out away from the city. You want to move into the city. We've got a detachment for you.
Yeah.
You're not leaving the OPP. We have, from what I've heard, and even my trainers used to be with Peel, used to be with Toronto, and for some reason I was like, why are all these guys coming to OPP? It's the quality of life.
Mhm.
That's the answer that I've been given. I've come to the OPP for the quality of life. So time and time again, I'm so glad that this is the service that I'm with, because this is the service that I'm going to end my career with. If I
Okay.
want to move somewhere, not only does the OPP pay for it, but the OPP, again, like, I'm not going to a different police service learning different ways to do these documents or how to do certain things. It's always going to be the same.
Yeah. A question here from Desiree. Would hand tattoos prohibit someone from being hired? And I was going to say, Saba has, I think, a full-on sleeve. Rod, he's got a full-on sleeve. I would say he should probably roll his sleeve up, but he's wearing a long sleeve, so it's probably
Yeah,
not gonna go up that well. But I think Saba has a long sleeve, and many of our officers have tattoos. I think that's a personal expression that many people have, and certainly that is not going to prevent you from being hired with us. So absolutely not. That's right. What's too much debt or credit score? So certainly when you go through our hiring process, in the background investigation stage, we do dive into your financials. We look at just how you manage your finances. So there isn't an example, or we're not saying you need to have this much debt ratio to this much savings. It's not like that. But we want to know, are you a responsible individual? Are you managing your finances accordingly? And are you meeting your obligations? Because we want someone that's responsible for not just one area but many facets in their life. So I'll preface it that way. Okay. What are some of the courses you can take to make yourself stand out, or what are some of the things that you can put on your resume to make yourself stand out? Any opinions on that, Saba?
yeah. So one of my friends, Kevin, is the one that suggested this to me. And like the OPP, we have, I believe there's an Aboriginal course on our website
Yeah.
where, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the bridge,
Be the bridge. Yeah, be the bridge
be the
challenge.
bridge challenge,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So honestly, going online, looking at what kind of free courses can I take. You're looking to join the OPP, take our own course, and learning more again, even outside of a post-secondary um, kind of setting. What kind of courses am I taking to better myself, or what kind of licenses am I taking to show that I stand out from the other applicants, right? What have I learned? So, as far as courses, I'd say look at getting a boating license, right? Because if you're going to join the OPP or whatever police service, at the end of the day, you may be policing near water. Um, Look at again other types of licenses or certificates that you can get for yourself to better stand out from the other applicants and show that you know more.
yeah. And just to build on that, on the Canadian Police Knowledge Network, that's just one platform that you can use to do a lot of free online courses in relation to law enforcement. And sometimes courses don't even need to be related to law enforcement. You can do a lot of courses just to enhance your knowledge and understanding of many things that would be transferable to policing. So think of it from that perspective, so that way you can learn, because learning is free, especially in this day and age. So many things that you can probably get yourself involved in. So if you look at it and approach it from that perspective, certainly you'll make yourself a really strong candidate. Um, Question about submitting your application and when the shuttle run is. So once you have to first submit the application online, going to our portal, opp.ca/careers. You would create yourself a portal, and then you would submit the application. And once you submit the application, we will send you the request for you to submit the video for the shuttle run. Okay. Question about OPP benefits. Why are OPP benefits not as good compared to other police services in Canada? I think it varies. I think maybe like again, I would have to specifically talk about what it is that you're referring to. But there's so many different type of benefits that we have. Maybe one might be slightly lower than one other service in certain area, but then ours might be much higher in another area. So again, it's like a package, benefit package. So unless you sit there and go through line by line all the different things, it might be hard to compare it that way. Okay. If you're a non-citizen of Canada, when you apply to the OPP, do we need a place report from your country of birth? Yes. So when you go through the OPP application process, and if you've recently moved to Canada or within the past 5 years, we do require a police check from your country that you came from. Again, we explain that on our OPP application. Okay. Trying to go through your questions here. Thank you, everyone. How long does it usually take to hear back after submitting an application? Should be quick, usually quick. But one thing I always find is our responses are going into people's junk emails or junk mails. So please check your junk mail to make sure the responses that we're sending you back is not going in there. And if you still can't find any response, please email us at opphire@opp.ca, and then we will be able to tell you exactly what's going on with your application. Um, uh, yeah, so yes, the audio that I mentioned for the beep test, that is also on the OPP website. The shuttle run test, beep test, it's also called. It is on the OPP website. Okay. If you don't have high school but have tons of work experience in a government job, you still need to get your GED. Yes, you do. You have to have minimum requirement is your high school education. So if you don't have your high school, please get your GED. That would be considered your high school. Um, Thank you for all the unique questions, everyone. Will my chances be affected if I paid a fine while crossing the border? No, no, it would not be. It would be just as considered as any other ticket that you get. So no. Is the batch of September class full? No, I think this week is the last week that we're still offering spots. So some people will get their calls this week. How do you evaluate the language portion when English is not the first language of a potential candidate? We will evaluate that as part of a Sigma test. It's called a Sigma test, which we would do as part of the psych testing process, and that's where we assess your reading, writing, and comprehension. Okay. For the six detachments that I'm referring to, is it's hard to get, or OPP has been able to change to accommodate. So let me ask Saba that. So Saba, you picked obviously your top six,
Yep.
and you mentioned earlier that you got your number one spot. Do you recall the other ones that you picked and why you picked them? Like, what was your thought process behind picking where you picked?
I think it was Toronto, then Aurora, Whitby, Mississauga, and then I picked two that were a little bit further out, Kawartha Lakes and I think Nottawasaga, just to again still be around the GTA. But I would say, from speaking to the other recruits that I trained with, everybody got their top picks. And if you're not getting your top pick, I'm pretty sure that you can ask to be deferred until the next class. When a spot opens up, your application, and you could speak to
Yeah,
that sergeant.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would say is when you go through the process with us, certainly, as a candidate, you pick your top six that you want and you rate them from 1 to 6. And our goal is always to give you your top selection, right? That's what we want to always give you. Certainly, if we can't give you your first spot, we'll try to give you your second. If not the second, the third, so on and so forth. If we can't give you any of the six that you pick, we'll come back and ask you to pick maybe three more to give you more options and give us more options. Certainly, we always approach it from a perspective of trying to give you and set you up for success. And what do I mean by that? As you start this new career, certainly there's a lot of challenges, a lot of change that comes with this career. And we want to make sure that, all your support systems, the networks that you've built over the course of your life are there to support you as you transition into this career. There will be days that are tough, that are hard, that are mentally draining, and I'm sure Saba can probably attest to that. And we want to make sure that when you go home at the end of the day after your shift, that you have the right people there that are able to sit with you and talk with you and give you the support that you need to make sure that you're ready for the next day to come into work and perform at your highest peak. So certainly that's the way we approach it now, and I think many of our candidates, including Saba, again, he got his first choice, feel that way. But again, if you don't get one of the choices that you asked for, certainly we always believe in working with you to give you something that we're able to, I guess, meet your organization's need, but at the same time meet the needs of what you're looking for. Okay. Trying to go through the other ones here. Okay, let me ask Saba. Let me ask you this: do you
Yeah.
recommend a person apply to multiple police services before the OPP, or maybe you can even talk about applying
Yeah.
to multiple services? Did you do that
So
yourself?
I did. So I think that's a little bit of a misconception, or other services might look at it negatively. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard mixed things from different people.
Right.
Ultimately, it's your life. If this is the career you want to go with, and I spoke about it earlier, it's not about um, who. Again, for me, I did my research. I knew which services were the ones I wanted to go into.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wanted to stay around Toronto, but if you want to become a police officer, it's about who's going to be giving you that ticket to make your dream come true, right? So as long as you're a good candidate, you might. And I've said this before. Life's about mistakes and failure, and we want to see as a part of your application as well. Where did you fail? Where did you succeed? When you did fail, what did you do to better yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So I myself applied to Toronto. I didn't get it. I felt like I failed. No, I picked myself back up. I went and I got a couple more courses. I got more experience at work, you know, and then I applied to York. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? Now my application is going to be a little bit better for York. York straight up said no. And I was like, damn, sorry. Part of my, I was like, man, what is it? Am I the problem? So I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to pick myself back up. I'm going to make myself a better candidate and I'm going to apply again. And this was all within the span of a year. And again, one of my friends was like, "Why not OPP?" So I applied to the OPP, and sure enough, when I got in, I was like, "Wow, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be." But every time I went into these interviews and I was asked like, "Hey, tell me about yourself," the first time it was very intimidating sitting in front of a panel of police officers, somebody that I want to be, and I'm just like, uh, about the third time, I was very comfortable about speaking about who I am, what I know, what I want to do, and where I'm going. So,
Good.
um, yeah, if
No,
that,
that was yeah, that was well explained. That was really, and that's exactly the type of advice I would give. Certainly, it's your choice. You can pick who you want to apply to, and certainly, as the OPP, we don't we're not going to look at you as a candidate of having multiple applications without service. That doesn't mean we're going to grade you lower or anything like that. We will still approach you as a potential candidate for us and look to hire you. That's the way we would do it. Question from Kay about prep tests. So in the hiring process right now, the only test that you need to get or meet is level 7 on the shuttle run. You would do it one at the start of the application and one before the job offer. Once you're hired, when you attend the Ontario Police College, that is where you'll be tested on the prep test. And essentially, when you're there, you are given the opportunity to train and practice on the prep equipment, so that way you can be successful at it. Okay. If you fail psych, does the OPP let you know if you're not successful in the psych stage, as it is included in the background stage? No, you will not know if you were successful or not in the psych stage. That is kept within the testing parameters. Okay. Hi, Sergeant Ranjan and Constable Zergani. Thank you for the session. Can you speak more on the vision requirements, color vision, if someone is so as I mentioned earlier, please go to our website, go on to our frequently asked questions page, and look at our vision standards, and go test yourself, and go see an optometrist and get yourself tested. That is the only way you're going to know if you meet the vision standard. So don't apply if you have concerns that you don't meet the vision standard. Get yourself tested first, and that way you know for a fact that you meet the standard. Okay. Um, how in depth should the personal questions be? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the question is asking for there. Maybe you can reword it and put it in there. Okay. Um, would hand tattoos prohibit somebody from being hired? No. Do you know if there will be a cadet intake? At this point, we haven't determined an intake for the cadet class. So certainly, if we do move ahead with with the putting in a cadet class, certainly you'll know because we will be promoting it all over our social media platforms. Okay. Um, okay. So how do you, Saba? Maybe you can answer this one. How do you transition mentally from being a civilian to an officer? How was the
Oh my
transition for
goodness.
you?
It's still, I still see myself as a civilian. I don't know. That's a good question because
Like,
it,
and just to build on that, as you answer this, how do you see
yeah.
things in your day to day life as you're on and off duty? Because
So
you're
when
an
you're, yeah, when you're off duty, you do have an obligation to, you can't just see something and not say anything about it. You're taking an oath, and you can actually get in trouble for that if you don't do anything. So I never like to think of myself better than anybody, but at a certain point, like you're now a sworn in police officer, you're no longer a civilian, and still, again, 6 months on the road, it's still hard for me to wrap my head around that. Um, you know, I am a police officer, even when I'm wearing the uniform and I'm having a conversation with somebody. So that's a good question. Um, I think just reminding yourself and having those interactions with people is,
yeah,
it's like, yes, I'm a police officer now. There's certain powers that I have on and off duty, but I just try to be humble about it. So I hope I answered your question. It's a hard divide for me because
yeah,
I just see myself as
yeah.
Saba.
Yeah, no, it is a challenge because you are in a profession where when you take off the uniform, that doesn't mean you're not a police officer anymore. You're still a police officer, even if you take off the uniform on your off day. So it is, we are held to a much higher standard because of the profession that we are in. So to answer your question, I would say, if you are off duty, you are still held to the same standard as a police officer. And we've seen case laws where that's been held up that way. So I would say certainly it does impact your life in terms of what you do, and how responsible you need to be because you hold a standard when you're on duty and also off duty. I'm 35. Should I even bother pursuing policing at this point? Uh, Saba, yeah, go ahead. Answer
Yeah,
that.
I've had guys in my recruit class who are 45.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? As long as you're able to meet and this is a second or third career for them, as long as you're able to meet those minimum requirements, you're physically fit, you have your vision, um, you're good to go. Don't let age restrict you. It definitely, there's guys who are older than me that outperform me in some of the physical aspects. It's like, okay. Um, so it's not a limitation whatsoever.
Saba, what do you like the most about your career or your work so far?
I like that I just get to talk to people. I'm a chatty person. I don't know. I yap a lot. Somebody was asking about certificates, a certified yapper. So yeah, you just get to problem solve. No, and you're gonna hear this time and time again. No call is different. You're gonna try to problem solve the same ways sometimes, but you got to treat everybody with respect and differently, according to their needs. And you're gonna want to, again, get to know people and help them the best way they could. Like, you might be pulling up to an accident and it's your 10th one today, but this is the only accident somebody's ever been in. You got to remind yourself that. You
Hmm.
got to come with compassion, and you got to, again, just remind yourself that you're there to help people. So
Yeah, good. Well done. Hamza's writing. I just did my first interview with the OPP this morning. It was great experience.
nice.
Typically, what's the turnaround time after the interview? Usually, you'll hear back within the week or so. So patiently, just wait to hear back the result of it, and you should hear back very soon. Can I be part of the military reserve and work for the OPP? Yes. Many officers are still part of the reserves and still officers with the OPP, so you can absolutely do that. Is it okay to give gifts to the officers I see, such as small OPP model vehicles, candies, and such? I, I don't know if officers would take it. I really don't know. It totally depends on in what context. Because we're in a profession where we work for the government. We have a certain rules and things surrounding accepting gifts. So I don't think many officers would actually accept it. Would a driving conviction from 8 years ago affect my application? And with that said, would a course such as a defense driving course be beneficial? Yes, that's great. If you have a defensive course or any other driving courses, it always benefits you. And if you have a conviction from 8 years ago, I would not be too concerned about that. Certainly, I had like one driving infraction when I was hired. So we're not looking for a perfect candidate. We're looking for people, everyday people that that have gone through life and learned from their mistakes. Those are the type of things and aspects of candidates that we're looking for. Do we have government housing available in northern duration posting? Yes, absolutely. So, thanks for bringing that up. Certainly, when you apply, one of the areas that we promote is our northern duration posting. So, what are northern duration? That is where you can either work up in our northeast or northwestern part of our province, and we pay you a financial incentive, additional pay on top of your salary to go work there from 30,000 onwards on top of your salary. Again, it's just a way for us to still fill positions up north because we have an obligation to police the north. So if you're someone that's open to trying and having different experiences, I would honestly say please do consider it, because a lot of things you see and learn are so different when you go up in some of these northern postings. Anything to add to that, Sabah, from your experience or what you know about it?
Those duration postings, the 2, 3, 4 years, all paid for. Housing paid for, as far as I know. It didn't appeal to me, but it appeals to some people. And when you come back, or where you get the top pick of where you want to go. So you don't have to stay there, but some people live in those remote communities and they pick it. They get that incentive, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And then there's a question about retired from a municipal police service in Saskatchewan about 5 years ago. I'm looking to move to Ontario. I'm a little longer in the tooth than most recruits. Am I past the allowable limit? No. So you can actually apply. You can apply as a regular recruit because if you are within the 2 year period, you could apply as an experienced officer. But because you're over the 2 year limit, you would have to apply as a regular recruit and certainly go through the process and the training. Okay. Um, Saba, what is it like to be an OPP officer?
It's exciting, like especially working in the GTA, Toronto, and the Greater Toronto area, especially knowing a lot of the crimes that have been happening lately, a lot of auto thefts, a lot of these crimes that are committed, they're getting away on the 400 series highways, right? They're using our highways to move drugs, move stolen vehicles. So we're it. Like it's up to us to police, and we have to make a difference. So it's exciting when you catch those guys, when you lay these charges, and everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But ultimately, like it's our job to bring them before a judge and charge them appropriately. Um, so it's exciting being a part of that solution, right? Because there's it's a huge problem, right? But being a part of that solution, again, just one word to describe it: exciting.
And I think there's an additional question here. What sort of calls do you answer to on the highway? Obviously, Saba is a constable here in the HSE, which is the traffic related detachment. But I think he deals with a lot more than just traffic. Maybe you can talk about that, Saba.
So anything that happens on those highways, we're responsible for. So domestics happen on those highways, we're investigating it. Again, human trafficking, drug trafficking, we're going to it. Majority of those calls, as a recruit, you're going to motor vehicle collisions. That this is where you're getting your foundation of investigating, right? Who was at fault? Police officers don't determine who was at fault, but yes, we can charge. And just getting to know the types of crimes that happen on the highway, like it's so. Last 2 weeks ago, there was a flashbang found on the side of the highway. How do we investigate that? I don't know, but now we're learning. So these are the types of calls that we're going to. So a potential explosive on the side of the highway, right? You wouldn't think it, but it happens.
Yeah.
So it's a variety of calls from minor collisions to, again, assaults, domestics, um, mental health calls.
Yeah.
You name it.
Yeah. And again, and Saba's talking to just one aspect of what we do. Again, as you move throughout the different detachments across the province, like you'll be answering different type of calls based on this environment you're in or the town you're in and where it is. So again, there's a lot of different opportunities from that perspective too. I think there was a question here from Robbie about um, if you just have high school or grade 12 education, does that diminish your chance of being hired? Absolutely not. High school is the minimum requirement for education standard that you need. Just because you have high school doesn't mean you're less qualified than a person that has higher education, such as college or university or postgraduate or anything like that. We don't approach it that way. As long as you're capable of going through a hiring process, showcasing to us why you want this profession and what you bring to the table. As long as you have the confidence and the motivation to showcase that to us, I think certainly you can be successful because we've hired a lot of people that have just their high school education, but they turn out to be amazing officers by being given the opportunity to really progress in our organization. Okay. So team, we're coming up to 3 o'clock already, so we got about maybe 5 6 minutes. So we're gonna try to get through a few more questions for myself and Saba. I know I wasn't able to get through all the questions, so I do apologize. But like I said, we're in our AMA session every other week, every Wednesday from 2 to 3, every other Wednesday, sorry, from 2 to 3. So certainly do hop on because we do love answering all your questions and the engagement that you have. So, what sort of questions can I expect in the interview? Ah, that's a good one, Eric. I wish I could answer that. So, I'll give you maybe a tidbit about just in preparation for your interview. The 10 areas of assessments that we have on our OPP website, that is what your interview is going to be all about. That's what our focus is going to be. That's where we're going to talk to you about. So, if you go on our website and look at the 10 areas of assessment and think about how you can talk to those areas and how you meet those areas, that is what's going to essentially help you perform well in the interview. Okay. Thank you. Truly inspiring. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate that note. If you're attending an in-person shuttle run, should you apply first or wait until you have a certificate? You can do both. You can apply and then come do your in-person shuttle run testing, get your certificate, and submit that. Or you can come, get your certificate, and then go back and fill out the application and submit it. You can do both. There is no wrong answer there. Okay. Um, you have to be able to do a backflip to join. I don't think so. I can't do one. I don't think Saba can either. So
I think it's a newer requirement now. Actually, in the last year, you have to at least do one backflip. Yeah, I think it's in front of the commissioner now too. So they
no,
really
Saba's joking, folks. Don't even
no,
take that to heart.
you don't need to do a backflip.
Hello, Sarge. I'm currently waiting to hear back from the background and site. Can you provide an insight for me? Just patiently wait. That's the only insight I can give you. Because we have a lot of people going through the process at different stages, it takes a bit of time, especially when you go into the latter part of our hiring process. So just be patient. We will get to you. Okay. I'm just trying to get through the last one. I'm trying to see if there's one that I haven't got to. I would love to join the OPP. Please tell me how. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. So keep listening. If you missed this, certainly go on our YouTube channel or Instagram pages to see some of the different tips and tidbits. And I know our Alicia, our social media coordinator, posted the Reach video series link on this chat. Please go and take a look at that because that is a great starting point if you're looking to apply and if you want to see what applying to the OPP is like and how you need to prepare for it. Certainly look at our Reach video series on YouTube, or please go down and look at the link below that Alicia has posted. Okay. Is there still open spot in this September class? Yes, I think I mentioned this earlier. This week is the last week for job offers, so people are getting their job offers this week, right up until end of day on Friday. Um, Again, thank you so much, everyone, for the wonderful questions. I'm trying to see if there's one in here that I haven't answered that would be beneficial, maybe even for Saba to answer. Okay, Saba, look at this one. Okay, hold on. How long did it take for you to, I guess, develop a radio ear? I guess listening to the radio while going
Oh,
to calls or duties while also keeping track of what's important, relevant information in the air on the computer. So I guess you know what they're asking, right? So how did you kind of get your mind and your all these different functions happening multiple,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Talk about that a little bit.
I think the radio specifically, working with a security background before, like it wasn't too difficult. I think you just get used to it. It just becomes like somebody talking to you. As for like everything else, all the other inputs, like especially when you're driving. Just focus on the road. Don't worry about all the other things. Like yes, you got to do it, but mainly like your safety is number one, right? So, um, but the radio, you're going to be working with the same people, so you're going to be hearing the same tones of voice. Some people mumble, some people are clear. Some people like to go over the radio when there's traffic right next to them. You can't hear anything. You'll get an ear for it. It takes time.
Yeah, and even thinking about my time when I was doing the road. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. You're driving, you got the tablet, which is spewing out information on calls that you're going to. You got the radio. Your dispatcher is trying to get a hold of you to give you updates. There's a lot of moving parts for sure. I think that's why, as officers, you have to be able to multitask, but you have to do it safely because you can imagine it. There's a lot of things, and that's why I think through training and through repetitive tasks that we do, we try to really enhance and be good at it. But yeah, I agree. It is a challenge, and it does take some time for you to really get into it. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Thank you, Saba. It was great to hear. Uh, great to hear the other officers' experience on these AMA. So yeah, there you go. It was funny because Saba, when I asked him to come on this session today, he was a little bit nervous. He's like, what? I've done this before. Do you think I'm going to be able to answer? Do you think people are going to be able to relate to some of the information that I might talk about? I'm like, Saba, you're going to be perfect. Just come, join me. We're going to do this properly, and it'll be beneficial. So I think from the kudos that you're receiving today, Saba, I think maybe we might have to invite Saba back because I don't think he went through all the questions that you had for him. So I think there's a Saba fan club
Oh
starting
my
up. Come
goodness.
back. Okay, Saba, maybe this one as a wrap up one here.
Yeah, for
After
sure.
conditional job offer, what can I expect at training academy when I attend there? Like, is it challenging? Maybe you can talk about the testing, the studying aspects of it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
so it's if you have a little bit of knowledge with again the criminal code or just Canadian law, it won't be as challenging. But they set you up for success. They're not sending you there to fail you. Be of good behavior, okay? Don't do anything silly. Like you got your offer, great. But keep up your physical, study, get past this next 5 6 months because you're on thin ice essentially. Like you gotta lock in. All right. One of the sergeants up at PPA, Sergeant Graham, he's like, you guys gotta lock in. All right. So that's the advice I'll give to you. The training's meant to train you. I'm not gonna spoil like any of the secrets of like exactly what I went through because it'll ruin it. Okay, like you got to go through the training. It'll be an experience. It'll prepare you for coming to the road. But ultimately, like, still be of good behavior. Don't do anything silly, and just take in as much as you can. Because even now, I still feel like I'm training. I still feel like I'm getting so much information thrown at me, and yeah,
Awesome. No, well said, Saba. And that brings us to the end today. Any final thoughts or words that you want to share before we wrap up?
good luck. Good luck. If this is your like this career is waiting for you guys, so just lock in, do your shuttle run, do your shuttle run, and apply. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Saba. No, and I appreciate you coming on today. I know it's nerve wracking when this is not the everyday thing you do. And,
That's fine.
from a recruitment perspective, it's something we want to try out because, I can sit here and talk about it, but somebody that's actually in that mode right now, which you are, you're 6 months in, you're still on probation, and you got another 6 months to go. So you're going through a lot more things and going through a lot of changes. And certainly, I've heard nothing but good things from your sergeant and how you're progressing so far. So we continue. We wish you all the continued success to complete probation and for you to continue onwards in your career. Thank you for everyone that joined today. We really appreciate you and hope to see many of you for our next session next Wednesday. But if you're in the application process, Certainly, don't give up. Keep going. And from some of the tips that Saba had today, you can keep that in mind as you work through it. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the day. Happy Wednesday, everybody, and